Hey guys, so I wanted to make an interesting video today and speak about highly sensitive people. This is a topic I've never really touched upon, maybe in my hangouts a little bit, but I've never dedicated a full video to it. And I thought it was very important because I think a lot of people might deal with this and they might not even be aware of it, and they might write it off as anxiety and social anxiety, but this is a little bit different than that. It's a little bit of a different variation on that because I find myself in situations where I'm scared socially, especially when there's crowds and there's a lot of people, there's people I don't know and I'm meeting them for the first time. I get very overwhelmed, but I realize that that happens a lot if you're just like a sensitive person. So in crowds, there's noise going on, there's all this movement, there's just all this stuff, like everyone's speaking. It's so easy to get overwhelmed by those kind of situations. It was really interesting because a subscriber of mine commented on one of my videos and said that they think the reason that they isolate themselves, or they wish to isolate themselves, is not so much because of their social anxiety, but it's more because of being a highly sensitive person. And I thought that was very interesting, and this comment was a little while ago, but to this day I still think about it, and I was reflecting on my own life and I realized that that might be a big part of it. I get so easily overwhelmed by things and so easily just like, things just scare me. Sometimes I'm out and it's just too much. Like when I go to the farmer's market, if I'm not mentally prepared for it, it freaks me out. And I hate that I have to deal with that extra facet, but it's just true. I'll be there and people will be really competitive and running around and like trying to buy things first and just pushing each other's side. And I'm just standing there thinking like, I'll take my time. Like I'm not here to hurt anybody. I'm just here to get my kale, like it's cool, everyone. And it's just crazy how overwhelming things can be. So when I really started to realize that, like for instance, as a kid, I was terrified of fireworks. There was just too much like light and sound and everything, and I just didn't enjoy that experience. And actually my brother, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but he used to be really scared of movies just because they were so loud and just so much going on, and he'd be very overwhelmed by that when he was growing up. He wouldn't want to go to the movie theaters. So we definitely both experience that, or sometimes we feel too much empathy, too much caring, like our emotions just get the best out of us, and it's crazy because like my brother and I are just so in sync with that. And so to some degree I think of course there's the social component and the anxiety that comes from that, but otherwise just overstimulation from the environment. And that's why sometimes I just want to stay in the house, and anything where I know I'm gonna have to interact with somebody and go out on a day when I don't have to go out, it freaks me out and I'm really upset. But the thing is, what I've been trying to do is to take control of it instead of to run away from it, right? If you know you're dealing with something, it's better to face your fears and to actually confront it than to try and run away from it. So I wanted to give a tip on productivity if you're dealing with this personality type. What I've been doing is I really like writing down things. I guess that's a little bit of an obsessive part of me, but I really like making lists and to-do lists so I know what I have to do and accomplish. But in the past, I would just write down everything. I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? I want to work out. I want to apply for this job. I want to go to the grocery store. I want to clean the house. So I would write down this terrifying, overwhelming list of like 50 things, and then I would sit back, I would look at the list, and then I would start crying because it was like just too much, and I would just be so overwhelmed, especially when they were big things. For instance, making a doctor's appointment and stuff. For some people that might be fine, but one of my big fears is medical stuff, not because I'm worried something's wrong with me, but it's a trigger of mine, even to go into a clinic or something and sit there, it triggers me, it's something that I will do, but it's not something that I enjoy. For some people they might just not think about it, but it's a trigger of mine. So anyways, what I've learned to do instead is to make to-do lists of 3 items at a time, and to get through those, and then to write down the next 3 items. So that way you're kind of incrementally getting things done that you want to accomplish, but you're not overwhelming yourself. And honestly, that technique has been working for me so much better than the long to-do list ever has. Sometimes I'll make that long to-do list, and then I'll have a day where I'm just trying to accomplish chores, and I will get one thing done on that list because I'm so overwhelmed that I don't even know where to start. And so I'll pick something where I'm like, this isn't so bad, and then I won't even do anything that's really big that I need to get done. Like if there's a bill I really wanted to pay or something, I'll just be so overwhelmed, I'll be like, I can't do this, and I'll freak out and just, you know, not be able to do it. So at least with this technique, what I'll do is kind of a reward system. I'll do a few things, then I'll take a small break, a few things, take a small break. And the trick is not to write down things that are kind of trivial, like take a shower or brush your teeth or something. I mean, that might sound really silly, but when you get obsessive about things, like when I get in this mindset of productivity, I want to get obsessive and like almost document everything and make sure that everything's getting done. So I have to control that impulse and write down the bigger things that I might not be in the mood to do, like do a workout, or like I said, apply for a job, or to, I don't know, go out and get groceries. So I've also been trying to, when I'm trying to get things done in a day, make 1 or 2 tasks that will force me outside, just so that I can get used to being like that, because there have been periods in my life where I will just try and avoid going outside for as long as possible. If I have, you know, some days off from work in a row, I will just want to isolate myself, stay inside, and not go out. And honestly, what happens to me is, let's say I have 2 days where I stay inside and I don't go out, and then I have to go to work, or I'm going to a friend's house or something, and then I get outside, I feel panicked because I feel like I'm not used to it anymore. I get that desensitized if I'm staying inside. So I think if you know yourself and you know what your battles are, instead of running away from them, you should try and face them and find ways that you can better deal with these things, so you can get better and better and you can improve with time. So honestly, ever since I've started doing these productivity lists of sets of 3, I've been accomplishing, you know, 9 goals a day, 12 goals a day of things that really are big and that I've been putting off, like changing address, things like that, things that, you know, you don't really think about all the time, but when you jot it down and you get it done, you feel like, I did it. So what I do is I do this list, and then when I feel like I've accomplished enough goals and I've really done a lot, then I stop and I reward myself. So I'll play my favorite video game, or I'll just do something that I enjoy and be like, good job, like you got a lot done today. So honestly, that's kind of what I'd recommend, because right now it's kind of a, not stressful exactly, but I get into these really avoidance mindsets when I know there's things that I want to do. So currently I've been at the same job for quite a while now, and I enjoy it, but there's less hours available. So I've been wanting to look for something in my field, in biology. I have a lot of places in mind, and I want to further my studies if possible. I have a lot of different things and thought processes. So some of my goals now are to kind of like set these things down and start moving forwards in that way, and really like, you know, apply myself, and literally and figuratively, and to really like move forwards in that way. And so instead of being overwhelmed and not knowing where to start, I've been setting these little goals to kind of get my mind there. So that's good, because I don't feel this immediate pressure, since I do have, you know, a job and hours and everything, and I have an income. But at the same time, I do want to be making more money for myself, getting more hours, and doing something where I feel like I'm using my strengths and believing in myself, because I've struggled a lot with believing, you know, your feelings of worthlessness, depression, of course, all those kind of things. But some days I look at myself, I'm like, Lisa, you can do this. Like, you have, you know, a degree in biology, you have a good understanding in science, like you can find yourself a job where you're applying yourself more, you're making a difference. I'd love to do something where it's research related, or I feel like I'm, you know, helping people and moving forwards and getting into the mental health field a little bit more. So I've been finding ways to kind of integrate there by taking these slow and incremental steps, so I'm not overwhelming myself and then shutting down and not doing anything. So I think that's the best way to be productive, is to really do things in a stepwise way. I think honestly that's the best way for anything, whether it's diets or exercise routines. You really just kind of listen to your body, tune into yourself, and slowly get things done. So even with lifestyle, just to branch out a little bit further, this whole week I haven't eaten any meat yet. I haven't had a desire to. I've been really leaning more towards, I'm gonna say more vegetarian at the moment, because I have had some cheese products. I've had, like we ordered some pizza this week when my family came over, stuff like that, but I'm still, instead of getting like a pepperoni one or something, I got a vegetarian pizza. So I've been trying to just slowly take these sustainable little steps, tune into my body, see what I need, what I want. My energy's actually been a lot better in general. So you know, these are just ways where you can find yourself in a better place without even realizing it, by just knowing who you are. If you're a sensitive person, if you're a depressive person, if you're an anxious person, and not labeling yourself as that and putting yourself in this like stuck mindset, but instead saying, okay, this is what I deal with. How can I improve? How can I work with this? And how can I show everybody that, you know, I can do this, and that I'm doing this for myself first and foremost, you know? Because I think sometimes we lose sight of why we do things, but if we keep the focus on ourselves and, you know, what we need to do to be happy and functioning and good members of society, you're going to find yourself going from a place where you're lost and you're stuck to a place where you're accomplishing and feeling good. And, you know, it's been great that I've been going down this path recently, and I've grown so much, you know, finishing my schooling, well, this step of my schooling at least, and moving out and getting engaged, and just all these steps that have been really like beautiful and amazing steps that honestly, I don't even know, maybe even 2-3 years ago, I would have never pictured myself at this point. So I have big career goals next. I've been reaching my lifestyle goals. That's been great. And I'll keep you guys posted on the journey. And if you guys have made any transitions or changes lately, or if you have any tips on, you know, productivity or things that you've been doing, that would be amazing. So thanks for watching, my precious gems, and I'll try and be doing another Introvert Island on Monday. Bye, everyone.